Rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
You can't control cattle prices any more than you can control the weather, but you don't have to be a commodities expert to protect yourself against an unpredictable livestock market. Contact me, Caleb Morris at Farm Credit of Western Kansas, about a livestock policy to help protect you from declining market prices. Work with agents who work for you. Contact our office at 785-462-6714. Farm Credit of Western Kansas is an equal opportunity provider.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm, with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I am old and I am white, and I do not understand it in any way, shape, or form.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps.
It's an air ball in the Colby Eagles, victorious in Hugoton.
To the pros.
The cheer is hit to left. It's deep, going back. Gurriel. It's gone. He has done it again. His second home run tonight. And the Rockies have come back to take the lead.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Oh, Captain America is a Merry-do marvel. Patrick Reed has lifted his live golf burden at the 41st attempt, and he's finally put as a pro in his home state of Texas. Team striker.
Strike 3 to France. Pasquantino launches it deep right center field. Look out of the fountain deck. That's way gone. Vinny Pasquantino pummels a 3-run homer.
There's a drive to left. Going back is Collins at the wall. It's gone. Orlando Arcia with a 2-out home run. A touch 'em all time that ties the ball game here in the 9th.
Good Monday morning, everybody. It is the Morning Blitz, broadcasting in Goodland's Rocket 102.5, NWKSradio.net, and video streaming on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, as well as X. It is the final day of June 2025. Hard to believe, and almost to an extent, feeling like the very end of the first half of the summer. Then that's just kind of the way it is. We got July 4th coming up here on Friday. And that usually signifies the middle of the summer. That really, truly does. But glad that you are with us here on this Monday edition of the Morning Blitz, where today we are going to visit with Colby High School football coach Ryan Mosier. He'll be joining us in our second segment, looking at Colby High School football, what they're doing this summer leading into the 2025 football season. And we will also visit with him about that and summer weights and all that good stuff going over at Colby here today. So Ryan Mosier, our guest here on the program this Monday. We will get to weekend winners and losers here in a little bit. We'll have some leftovers as well, whatever we don't get to in the first half of the show. It is an odd week, just because, like you said, 4th of July coming up here on the 4th. So kind of an odd week. Programming notes, again, I will be here today and tomorrow, obviously here today, and tomorrow, and then no shows the rest of the week. No show Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday out that time, and back again on the fall week from today on Monday. So once again, just a programming note, no shows after Tuesday. So we'll have a show tomorrow, and then no shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as we get into the 4th of July. And it kind of works out well, when you're reaching out to guests and they're kind of like, well, I would, but, I'm on vacation, or, well, I would, but we're taking a trip. We're taking the kids somewhere, and I totally get it. Like, I love the joke. There was a coach that put something out on social media. This was a high school coach in Kansas, and it was a joke kind of saying something on the line. So I think I might have even been Travis Smith, but don't quote me on that. But someone goes, well, I'm sure I'm glad that the state of Kansas allowed me to take a vacation this week, because it is a moratorium right now. No sports activities, no weights, anything like that really going on this week. So like I said, a break in the action, kind of get through a very busy month of June on the local sports scene wise, with summer camps and summer league. Some kind of a little bit of a break now for a week or so, and then pick back up again with some weights and stuff, and then a few more things. But June, a very busy month, and then July has kind of become that month that has allowed athletes at the high school level to take a little bit of break, have a little bit of a time to sit back and relax a little bit in some areas, and then get ramped up again in August for football season and volleyball season and golf and all those other great sports that happen as well. So like I said, for some, a little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a break starting here probably started this past weekend, but officially really get going here on Monday. But like I said, so no shows Monday and Tuesday, shows Monday and Tuesday, obviously today and tomorrow, and then no shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we'll be out of the studio. So anyway, once again, so thankful that you've joined us. The F&B Bank text line is open if you'd like to chime in at 785-899-2222. Would love to have your company here on this Monday morning, where it is a little partly cloudy, 64, a nice, beautiful morning, high of 82 today. Really going to be a very nice day temperature-wise. And then we're going to warm back up starting tomorrow, back into the upper 80s throughout the rest of the week. May even touch the low 90s on July 5th, that Saturday after the 4th. But temperature is going to be, looks to be a little warm, maybe even a little windy on Wednesday and Thursday. And so some warmer temperatures coming after a wet weekend, to say the very least. I know Raleigh certainly hit on this a lot on his show on the Good Neighbor Hour. But yes, plenty of good moisture, anywhere, it looked, kind of almost anywhere between, a little over a half to 3/4 of an inch up over to maybe an inch and a half, inch 70 in some spots, for rain gauge. Had a little rainstorm last night come through, woke me up around 12:30, heard the thunder and the lightning and all that fun stuff. But some nice precipitation this weekend, great rain on Friday night, and then pushing ahead here to last night as well. So some really nice moisture going around the listening area. And boy, that sure is nice. We'll certainly take it. No problem with that. I understand that it is harvest season. I get that. And I get that when we get that wheat crop out. I totally understand that, but certainly aren't going to pass up any chances at some free water, are we? I know I certainly wouldn't. So anyway, let's get rolling here on this Monday program. It's time to get into weekend winners and losers.
There are two kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners.
Loser! You're a loser!
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
You want to be a winner, be a winner.
I won't lie. I mean, I didn't have a ton of winners this week, and I really had to dig deep for winners. So it's going to be a short winners. I certainly had more losers of the weekend. We're really getting into these dog days of summer where there's really only baseball happening. There's of course the WNBA. There's some golf happening as well. But really there's not a whole lot going on. There really isn't. And so, I really do think that it's kind of the dog days of summer, and it's going to kind of be that way until we get about mid-July, honestly. And then we'll start talking maybe a little bit more about preseason football and things of that sort but it's kind of a slower time, and that's okay. There's no problem with that. But as a solo sports guy, it becomes a challenge to come up with some stuff. But I do want to say my winners of the week, and I have a few of them here. My first one is going to be the Big 12 Conference and Big 12 Conference football, to be exact. News came down a couple days ago. I think it was either on Friday or Saturday that the Big 12 announced that it is going to discontinue its football preseason poll here for the upcoming years. Now, for many, many years, preseason polls are just out there, put out by the media or out there by the coaches saying, hey, put your votes in on who you think should win the conference, who you don't think should win the conference. And most conferences do it. There's one conference that doesn't do it. That's the Big 10. They do not release an official preseason poll from the conference. The Big 12, the SEC, all the other big-time conferences always do. But now the Big 12 says we're not going to do that anymore. Biggest reason why probably is because one of the bigger reasons why is because most recently you had Arizona State picked to finish in last place and ended up finishing in first and making it all the way to the college football playoff because they won the conference title. So that's probably the biggest reason why is that here's the thing. Coaches don't care. So if they put out polls, they're just like, whatever. Just throw. They probably even do it. They probably just say their assistant, just throw something together and send it to them. That's probably one thing that happens. And then, from the media's perspective, usually the media, most of the media, I'm not going to say all, but most of the media is focused on one or two teams based upon their readers and their listeners, where they're focused on. So if you are, of course, in Kansas, you're focusing on Kansas State and KU. If you're in Oklahoma, you're focusing on them. If you're in Colorado, you're focusing on them. You don't really know a ton. You know a little bit. You don't know a ton outside of your own region. And it's even harder now because unless you just follow it 24/7, it is difficult to know what is in other teams' camps because of the portal and just the player movement that has gone on over the last handful of years. It's hard to know. Every year is kind of a new year. Now, the reason that this makes it a winner of the weekend for me is because I think that preseason polls, even national polls, are dumb anymore because we don't know what each team has anymore. We just don't. It is such a different, it's just a different landscape than what it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you knew based upon recruiting classes and development, you knew that conferences you knew teams in your conference kind of based upon, well, they have this guy. He was a freshman last year. He didn't play at all. Or, hey, there's this guy. He's a junior. He was one of the top best players. He's back again for his senior campaign. We expect them to be good in that area. You just don't know that anymore. There's tons of player you're banking on. Well, did this guy come up from Division II? Is he going to be really any good? They lost these two guys. They went to a rival school. You just don't know how it's all going to pan out each and every year, which makes it so difficult to predict. So I have been for this for a while now about how I think we should just get rid of all preseason polls because it sets connotations that nobody knows about yet. You just don't know. So it sets the bar with really nothing there. And that's how you get to this point where once again, we go back to the almighty point here is that, well, the SEC gets all love because people look at it and they're like, you know what? The SEC is the best conference. Well, that's because they have, 6 of the top 10 teams, but they haven't played yet. But they're going to be picked that because we have a preseason poll. And guess what? If you start in that spot, you have more leeway than if everybody started at the same exact spot where there's no rankings. You go about 3 weeks in, and then you put out the rankings and you see what stands. It's still not going to be perfect if you do it that way, as a fly buzzes across my face. It's still not going to be perfect because you are going to have You are going to have teams that play 3 very easy cupcake games. You're going to have some teams that play 2 very difficult games, some teams that might play 3, but you're going to have some challenges with that. But I still think it's better than when the season begins, we believe that the SEC has got 6 of the top 10 best teams based upon last year, which once again really doesn't matter anymore because teams change so much in the course of a 365 day calendar. So going back to this, I think this is brilliant by the Big 12, and it's better for them. Look by having Arizona State start at 16th and win the whole thing, it was actually a bad look on the Big 12. It was a bad look by them because it said to everybody, well, geez, the worst team in the conference ended up winning it. That means the conference stinks. I mean, that's the truth. That's what it looked like. So by not putting anything out there and saying, look, we're not going to put our predicted order finish. We're just going to leave it as is and let the cards fall where they may. You put yourself in a better position to have success late because you didn't put anything out there for people to judge it on. Because not everybody follows the conference. In fact, not many people follow a conference as a whole. That's how they just follow their individual programs that their readers and listeners are attentive to. So I think this is a massive victory for the Big 12. Now you don't have anything that's already laid out there and just saying, well, preconceived notion. You don't know. Everyone is starting the race at the line. And when the gun goes off, bam, there at the end of August, hey, and it might be Kansas State that jumps out to a 3-0 run, but then also jumping out to a 3-0 is, try to think of one of the worst teams in or one of the Baylor. I don't know. That once again, everyone jumps out, at 3-0, but maybe a team that was predicted to be really, really good, like BYU gets which more on that here in losers, but dropping back, they start off 1-2. Well, BYU was predicted to be a top 2 team, but they're 1-2. That's not a good look for the Big 12. I don't know. I personally think this is a smart move, and I don't think it's just because, they're not going to do the poll because they got it wrong. No, that's not the reason why. When you don't do a poll, you automatically when you do a poll, I should put it this way, you put yourself in a position to fail because if you don't have the right predictions to an extent, it can hurt your chances for the CFP. Now, if you don't do it, once again, everyone starts at a level playing field. Once again, I think that this should be a thing that they should do nationally. There should be no preseason national polls, no rankings come out until we're 3-4 weeks into the season. Then let's see where the chips fall. That's what I think should happen. I think that's the way to go, especially in today and age is college. And it could be for basketball, baseball, whatever, all sports. I think it could possibly work this way. So once again, a winner of the weekend is the Big 12 Conference, getting rid of the preseason poll. The Big 10 already doesn't do it. Like I said, I just think it is a smarter thing because it's going to allow I believe it is going to allow everyone else to start on equal playing field. Instead of having someone start at the top that ends up not failing. There was an interesting stat on this from ArizonaSports.com. It said Texas was the only Big 12 team in the last 4 seasons to win the conference after receiving any amount of first place votes before the year. That was in 2023. Kansas State won the title in 2022 after it was picked to finish 5th. Baylor won it in 2021 after picked to be finishing 8th. So like I said, no one really knows when it starts out, but it automatically probably hurts the conference in this day and age of where we need to get as many teams as we can in the playoff. Well, when you have teams that are not, when you have your top teams not performing well, that hurts the overall look of the conference. So by having everybody start on an equal playing field, it doesn't hurt them as much, if at all. Brilliant move by the Big 12. Winner of the weekend, the Big 12 Conference, and Brett Yormark doing that. A couple other quick winners here. Shout out to Alabama football and head coach Kalen DeBoer. Winners of the weekend. They have had an unbelievable surge in recruiting. Just a week or so ago, I think it was the 21st, somewhere in there, was the end of the that was the beginning of the summer dead period. So for the next 3 months, once again, no more recruiting can take place on campus, anything like that. So a lot of work is done in June for recruiting for football. And then you hope to see, because of that work, maybe kids commit over the next month or two. They can't come to campus, can't do any visits like that. But once again, that they could admit that they can commit, but you just can't do any work towards that from a coach's perspective. But looking at the Tide before that summer dead period, just a week or so ago, they sat outside the top 40 nationally for Alabama, a program that has secured 10 number one classes during the Nick Saban era. So they were way behind the eight ball. But they recently added a linebacker by the name of Xavier Griffin. They have added another couple of great players here over the last few days. And because of it, they have gone from outside the top 40 up to number 8 in the national rankings. And for Kalen DeBoer, after coming off what would be in Alabama standards, an abysmal season with 3 losses, for him to get this recruiting going in the right direction is impressive. He's landed 2 5-stars. They still have 2 more 5-star targets that are out there on their board that they could possibly come to Alabama as well. So for Kalen DeBoer, who I admit I'm kind of quietly pulling for, I love a guy who spent his time at a small school and worked his way up. He was at University of Sioux Falls where he was really, really successful at the D3 Division II level, and then went up and was like an offensive coordinator at Indiana, a head coach at Fresno State, and then I think he was an OC at Fresno State as well. Then he was the head coach, and then he was at Washington. He worked his way up the ladder, and I have a ton of respect for those guys who do it that way and don't just jump the whole thing. So a ton of respect for Kalen DeBoer, and then going from Washington to Alabama. It's a lot of pressure on him, but look like he's closing down the stretch here when it comes to recruiting. So Alabama, winner of the weekend. And shout out to the Cincinnati Reds. Still 5 games back in the Central. Could have been in a bad spot, but they have won 6 of their last 7 series. That's something very hard to do in today's day and age of baseball. The Cincinnati Reds are winners of the weekend. On to losers here on the Morning Blitz, weekend winners and losers. As always, hit us up with your weekend winners and losers on the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222. But going to start with KU basketball, a loser of the weekend. This past NBA draft, which wrapped up on Thursday, for the second time in 15 years, KU didn't have a single player drafted, and it kind of reflected on what happened this season, where KU was very inconsistent, did not have the type of season that most people are accustomed to having, being KU basketball fans. Well, nobody got drafted. Now, a couple guys did sign some deals. Hunter Dickinson's going to the Pelicans, and I think the Hornets. Yes, I'll double check that. I think it's the Hornets that took up DeJuan Harris. I think is going to the Hornets. I'll make sure yes, it is the Hornets. So they did get a couple guys to sign some deals outside of the draft. But KU basketball, once again, not having anybody drafted, that's not what you see out of blue blood programs. No matter what sport it is, if you're a blue blood program and you don't have anybody drafted, usually it's a bad sign. And it was for Kansas this year. As a bit of a bright spot, though, they are certainly, as we've seen over the last week or two, embracing the youth movement. They are moving in the direction of, we're going to go with younger players and hope to build. Of course, they brought in Cole Rosario last week. Paul Mbaya, the big man from that was going to be at NC State, now is going to be with KU. You see those guys coming in. So they're embracing, and they've got a lot of younger pieces that they brought in. I think they only brought in like 3 transfers from the portal. So they're going young. Of course, they have the number 1 player in the country, Darren Peterson, that's coming in next year. They are embracing a youth movement. And because of that, I don't know if you saw, but mock drafts for 2026 for next year, 2 guys are already in that. Flory's in there, Badunga, and Darren Peterson, projected to be the number 1 NBA draft pick next season. So Bill Self embracing the youth movement. He tried the portal last year, maybe tried it the year before. It didn't exactly work great, but now embracing the youth movement here and is now moving forward with a younger team, and we'll see how that pans out. Once again, the thing about youth is it may take a little bit for that to put together, but it'd be great in the long run. We'll see how that impacts KU this year and then possibly in the years to come. We'll see. And then one more loser of the weekend before we get to break, and once again, Ryan Mosier is going to join us, Colby High School head football coach, coming up here in segment 2, talk about their summer. But BYU football, probably the biggest loser of the weekend, if we're being totally honest with you. They lost. It looks like they're going to lose their starting quarterback and what was kind of a Heisman contender to an extent in their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, who is planning to transfer from the school. This news coming down yesterday. Retzlaff in a bit of a pickle. He is facing a suspension after admitting to premarital sex, a violation of the school's honor code that surfaced during a response to a civil lawsuit alleging he raped a woman in 2023. It's all bad news for Jake Retzlaff. And because of it, that could be a 7-game suspension if he were to stay at BYU. He'd face a 7-game suspension, but he has begun informing staff and teammates that he is going to leave. And so BYU is going to possibly, and looking like going to lose, their starting quarterback and a guy who on a team that I believe was probably going to be a team competing in a top 3, top 5 spot in the Big 12. I mean, they were going to be, I think, a top quarter slotted team in the Big 12, I believe. That's what they were going to be with him because they always have an older team. They looked pretty good last year. They were going to take a step this year, one would think. But now they're going to be playing with one of 3 backup quarterbacks. Bear Bachmeier, big-time recruit. Trayson, I think it's Bourget, and McKay Hillstead are going to be the guys that will be more than likely one of those 3 taking the spot of Ratzlaff. But once again, Ratzlaff getting himself in a jam personally, leading to possibly a 7-game suspension, leading to him transferring out. And once again, losing your quarterback, 2 months before the season starts? Not ideal. Not ideal at all. A returning starter, a guy that you had a lot of success with. He's going to see 13 games for the Cougars last year. He started, led them to an 11-2 record. Once again, they were just outside making the CFP. He passed for just shy of 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks. Those are great stats, and you would love to have that back with another year of experience under the belt. But BYU's not going to have. They're going to have to go young again. So BYU football, no doubt, a loser of the weekend. So there you go. Loser weekend winners and losers. Winners again, Big 12 football, getting rid of the preseason poll. I think it's great for the conference going forward, particularly in the CFP race. Alabama football recruiting, the Cincinnati Reds, all winners of the weekend. Losers, KU basketball and BYU football from this past weekend. We could also throw the Royals and Rockies in there. They've both lost their series this past weekend, both lost 3 straight series. Things have not been good, but they did at least get a win in their series. So it's kind of a semi-draw to an extent. Okay, let's 7:32 Mountain, 8:32 Central Time here on this Monday, June the 30th. Once again, FB Bank text line open throughout the break. If you want to get your thoughts and comments in. Michael chiming in with his winner of the week, the construction crews who have the stadium looking good there for Kansas. Awesome. Even with the old seats on the east side, it looks really good. I would agree. It does look pretty sweet. That stadium is no doubt going to be a massive improvement compared to what it was, the old Bill. Okay, let's get to our break. We'll be back, talk some Colby Eagle football with head coach and good friend of the program, Ryan Mosier, next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Monday.
Wake up, sports fans. It's time to kickstart your day with the Morning Blitz and me, Ross Volkmer. Get the latest updates, in-depth analysis, and a few hot takes on everything from the preps to the pros. Whether you're driving to work or just getting your day started, I've got you covered with all the local sports talk you crave. So don't miss out. Tune in every weekday morning starting at 7 Mountain, 8 Central Time on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 to the Morning Blitz and join the conversation. Miss the show? No problem. Download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts.
Your Cheyenne County Hospital in St. Francis offers you a quality rehabilitation department. This includes a variety of staff that provides physical therapy, occupational therapy, aquatic therapy, speech therapy, and women's health. To schedule appointment, call 785-332-2104. Again, that's 785-332-2104. The Cheyenne County Hospital on 210 West Street in St. Francis.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Monday, June 30th. On the overnight last night, July corn unchanged at 417.5. September down 3 1/4 at 408 1/4. December down 3 at 424. March down 3 1/4 at 439. July soybeans up 3 cents on the overnight at 10.30 3/4. August up 3 3/4 at 10.37. September up 5 cents at 10.22 1/4. November up 6 cents at 10.30 3/4. Chicago wheat July contract lower half cent at 5.24 1/4. September down 3 1/4 at 5.37 1/2. December down 3 1/4 at 5.59 3/4. March down 3 1/2 at 5.78 3/4. Kansas City wheat July contract higher 1/4 cent at 5.16 1/4. September down 2 1/2 at 5.31 1/4. December down 2 3/4 at 5.54. March down 2 1/4 at 5.75. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $211 at 44,336. The S&P up 20 at 6,244. The Nasdaq up 110 at 22,862. Crude oil down 10 cents a barrel at $65.42. Gold higher $7.50 an ounce at $3,295.10. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Ball, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
Range.com to learn more.
They say seeing is believing, and nothing catches the eye like the 9.5 bushel per acre yield advantage of Revitec fungicide over other fungicides. But don't just take our word for it. See it for yourself. Run a comparison of Revitec fungicide. Enter the Real Results Yield Challenge and experience the difference it makes in your fields. And when you share your experience with us, you'll get a chance to win a 2-year lease on a new truck. Sign up at yieldchallenge.basf.us. No purchase necessary. See official rules for details. Always read and follow label directions.
Quick hits, bold takes, and all the action.
I'll take that action.
Welcome back to the Morning Blitz.
Once again, so glad that you're with us here on this Monday morning. Appreciate you chiming in the FE Bank text line. Once again, be a beautiful day. 82, a little partly sunny skies out there for this Monday after some wonderful precipitation in most of the area. We will get to the leftovers here in a little bit, but we welcome onto the show our good friend, Ryan Mosier, head coach of the Colby Eagle football team, kind of to spend some time with us here on this week leading into the 4th of July. Morning, Coach. How are we doing today?
We're doing great. It was good to see the rain last night.
So. Oh, absolutely. Great rain. Not going to complain one bit. What have you been up to this summer?
Well, we've been doing weights, and we started off with football camp. So, just back at it. Busy summer.
What about personally? Do you like to get away? Do you have any time to get away for a vacation or anything like that? Or it's just a go, go, go?
Yeah, so this moratorium week's a good time to get away, and then we'll have a little time more towards August. But with how state track fell this year, it's been kind of a busy summer, so it's going fast.
Do you kind of like it that way, even to an extent? I mean, I know it's not ideal, but do you like the fact that, from the perspective of, a coach, well, we're kind of already in a groove athletically with kids, sports. And then we just get to, let's get through a month of summer to try and improve, and then we'll give a little bit of a break. Or do you like it a different way?
I don't mind it. It's kind of nice that, those first few weeks of June is kind of the football camp time if you're going to travel anywhere. So, it's nice to stay busy. It doesn't feel like school ever ended, really. So, I enjoy it that way. I like this week because the kids get to get away and there's no pressure to be anywhere. So, I can't complain.
Yeah, I would say, I could just see how you could like that as being a coach. Just the fact that, we're already in a groove. Let's just stay in that groove. and see how much we can improve. I mean, how much improvement have you seen kind of in the weight room and stuff here over this first month or so?
We've seen a lot of improvement with us being a young team now. We graduated a bunch of seniors, and so now it's been fun to watch some of these younger kids kind of grow, and we're seeing a lot of improvement, which is exciting.
You mentioned football and camps. Did you guys go to a camp, or have you gone to a camp already here this summer?
Yep. So we went up to Hastings, Nebraska at the beginning of June, and did our football camp. I was really excited. We took enough kids that we got to take a bus this year. So we're really, really happy about that,
Well, every coach should be pretty stoked about that when you got to take a bus. And probably the big thing probably from your perspective is that, you get to learn a lot in that camp, particularly with a younger team. What did you come away learning about this young group of kids that you have this upcoming season?
I think we have a bunch of kids that just really enjoy competing and playing football, and that's really exciting. I wouldn't say that we're as flashy as we were last year at the skill positions, but collectively we played some good football up in Hastings, and I'm really excited to see what that turns into in the fall.
How much from a coaching staff perspective do you kind of have to, I don't want to say go back to the drawing board, but at least take a look at the drawing board, each and every year, and particularly after a year like what you had where you lose a lot of skill position guys, kind of going back to the board and saying, well, what can we do this year to try to put our kids in the best position to have success?
Yeah, in high schools this size, you're going to go through waves of different types of athletes. And so you always have to have your system, but you always have to adjust to what you got. But, a lot of kids have stepped up and really focused on the weight room and building speed. And so, it's not as much of a change as you think, but, I'm really excited for the guys.
Ryan Mosier is our guest, Colby High School football coach, talking about the summer months for CHS football. Are you more excited about some of the younger classes that are coming into their own, or are you more excited about some of the guys that maybe were waiting their turn in the wings, now getting their shot to shine here in the upcoming 25 season?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of both. It's the guys that, sat there last year and played JV and sat behind some of the seniors we had. And I really do think they're really good competitors. And so I'm really excited to see, I also think we're a little more physical in those younger groups. And so those guys waiting, it really is it's going to show on the field, I think.
Where do you see being a strength of this year's squad, possibly?
I think we're getting better up front. Last year we struggled if we needed 2 yards to get that sometimes. And, I think some of the kids have really sold out in the weight room and really worked on it while they were waiting. And so, I think up front, there's going to be a little bit of a change. I was happy with how we did on both offensive and defensive lines.
Ryan Mosier, once again, is our guest here, Colby High School football coach. Going back to the weight room, what kind of gains have you seen? I mean, let me reframe that. How much, what are your focuses when you're in the weight room during the summer? Are you looking to build strength? You're looking to get on agility? What's kind of the bigger ones you're focusing on, at least maybe this summer?
In the weight room, we're really focused on explosive athletic movements. It's not quite like it was back in the day where you're just looking at your number and trying to move things. We want to move things as athletes and be explosive, and that all kind of translates to speed. And so we're all about the speed and agility here. But we're also at the same time, as we're getting faster and more agile, we are getting stronger. And so it's kind of fun to watch that translate and, their hard work kind of come to fruition.
The bigger, faster, stronger profile. You remember those? The bigger, faster, stronger booklets we used to have growing up?
There's a little bit of that, but a little bit of an adjustment off that. So
yeah, absolutely. Has attendance been pretty good in the weight room most of the summer from the guys and girls perspective?
Yeah, we've had really good attendance. The first 2 hours is the boys time. And, we've been bringing about 35 to 40 in there, not all just football. But boys wise, we've been bringing in a good number, and girls, they're always, their hour is always loaded in the weight room. And then it's been exciting to see how many middle schoolers we've had too. So, things are going good in the weight room.
How about from your perspective? Once again, our guest is Ryan Mosier, head football coach for Colby High School. I mean, how much more comfortable are you getting in your role? This being, I think, year number 3, if I'm not mistaken, for you that you're going into year as the head coach. How much more comfortable are you as you get ready for year number 3?
I'm a lot more comfortable. After a few years, you kind of know what you're looking for and what you want and how to get there. And so year 3, I would say probably the most comfortable so far.
Are you like an old shoe getting worn in there?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Ryan Mosier, once again, our guest here, talking a little Colby High School football and off season. You mentioned, you love this. This is a great week, of course, for kids and coaches to get away. I loved I said a comment earlier in the show. There was some coach on social media saying, boy, thank goodness that Keisha allows me to take a vacation right now or something like that. So what do you and the missus get out? Where do you guys go? Do you guys got a trip planned here this week? Gonna go take a break somewhere?
Yeah, well, we're headed with my wife and her family out to see her brother, who's close to Springfield. So we're going to take a long trip and get a little road time out there and go check out the world.
Favorite road trip snack?
Ooh, what's the move? You really can't beat the combo.
Oh, the combo.
All right, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a sneaky one, but you really can't beat that one.
I'm trying to think. Is that the one with that's the one with like the cheese stuff on the inside and the circle, right? Yeah, that's the combo.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure. For a second there, I was thinking.
Life.
I know they're really good. I love a good combo too. I had to rethink my snack. For some reason, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought they looked like a bugle. But I know that's not right. I was going to ask you about putting bugles on your fingertips as you ate them, but that's not right. I had to rethink the combo there. What about?
I quit that a few years ago. So.
At what age did the bugle not fit on your finger is the real question there. That's probably a while ago, obviously. Well, that's great. What about in July when you're able to kind of get back into it? What are you looking for? What are you hoping to get accomplished, both in the weight room and also on the gridiron as well?
You come back after that week of rest, hopefully, and you hope everybody's just excited, and that really carries into the fall. We'll move more towards getting a little more conditioned and explosive, and hopefully that carries into the fall. So, it seems like a long time from now, but you'll blink and it'll be here. And so we're excited to get going.
Does it feel like as if the summers get shorter each and every year?
It really does.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't think time-wise they are, but it does feel like they're getting shorter.
Each and every year with age just seems to shorten up those summer little grievances a little bit more and more. He once again is Ryan Mosier, Colby High School football coach, and also one of the men in charge of the weight room over there for Colby. Thank you, Coach. Really do appreciate you taking some time out of your day. Enjoy your downtime here over the next week or so, and we'll catch up as we get closer to the season.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Once again, great stuff there from Ryan Mosier here on the Morning Blitz. Okay, let's get to a break. When we come back, we are going to wrap up the show with some leftovers, and we will dive into what a big event got going here today. We'll dive a little bit more into baseball as well as we wrap up the show next here on a Monday edition of the Morning Blitz.
NWKS Radio's Rock the Block. Play the game, complete the fun challenges, score points to collect entries to win the Rock the Block grand prize package that includes us bringing our NWKS rolling radio trailer to your neighborhood to rock the block. By playing music and throwing a party, plus a backyard prize package, worth all your neighbors envy. Guess what? We're also throwing in giveaways throughout the game. So start playing Rock the Block now. Text ROCK to 785-460-0790 for more information.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm, with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
Summer deals are heating up at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get up to $7,000 off a brand new 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro, or choose 0% APR for 36 months plus no payments for 90 days on select 25 Sierra 1500s. Need more muscle? Drive off in a 25 Sierra 3500 with 3.9% APR for 48 months, or grab $2,750 select market purchase allowance. GMC, professional grade. These offers won't last. Swing by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today, online at hurlchev.com.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with ultimate fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
You're listening to the High Plains only local sports talk show.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The Morning Blitz.
Oh, 8 minutes or so left till the top of the hour here once again on this last day of June 2025. Glad you're with us here on this Monday morning. Another reminder, folks, that going on right now is our Rock the Block promotion. You want to make sure that you go to nwksradio.net to find out more information about how you can download the game on your phone. You complete challenges for points, and that gets you entries into winning our big grand prize here at the end of the summer, which does include bringing the rolling radio, the big old radio trailer we had out here at the we take around with a lot of spots, and you see us out with. We'll have that in your neighborhood for a block party. So make sure that you get signed up for that. Once again, go to nwksradio.net to be a part of Rock the Block. You can also text the word rock to 785-460-0790 to be a part of it as well. So once again, thanks to Ryan Mosier for joining the program. If you missed any of that conversation, go back, hit it up on the podcast page. Once again, you can listen to the Morning Blitz anytime you want that fits your schedule. You can do it anytime that works into your schedule. Once again, you've got, the podcast is available. You can go back on YouTube and rewatch the show if you'd like to see my mug even more than what you do already. You can do that as well. Leftovers real quickly. Baseball, rather quickly here. Mentioned it just a little bit ago, but the Royals and the Rockies both dropping series over the weekend. The Rockies were able to salvage a game. As they took the last game from the Brewers in extra innings 4-3, but that was able to snap what was a 5-game losing skid for the Rocks, who now have won 2 out of their last 9 at this point in time, sitting at 19-65. They actually have a day off today before returning home to host the Astros there at Coors Field. And the Royals, they got a game on Saturday. They beat the Dodgers 9-5, which honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the Shohei Ohtani game. And it was. Ohtani only threw 2 innings, gave up a hit, had a strikeout and a walk. But the Royals able to get to the LA bullpen and win 9-5 in that one, but still ended up losing 2 out of 3. They lost yesterday 5-1. They now begin what is a big 7-game road swing to the Royals. They are on the West Coast. They are now starting a series tonight in Seattle. They've got 4 games, I think, against Seattle and then 3 against Arizona here in their next 7 games. So lots and lots of baseball ahead for the Royals on the West Coast, who are now 39-45 on the season. Yesterday, one of the big storylines was runners in scoring position 1 for 5. They went 6 for 12 on Saturday when it comes to hitting with runners in scoring position, which I think is, once again, one of the most important stats in all of stats. Can you hit with guys on base, guys and girls on base? That is a really, really big stat. Let's see, what else in the leftovers? Oh, yes. Wimbledon is getting underway right now. Actually, I see it is on right now live. I don't know why. Wimbledon, I am not a huge tennis fan. That does not mean I don't respect the game. It's just not something I follow a lot. It's not something I follow a ton. And like I said, it's not something I've gotten into. I barely understand it, even the scoring system. I've kind of started to understand a little bit more, but I don't mind tuning in and watching Wimbledon. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably the grass. There's something about it just being played on just pristine fescue, if that's what it even is, that makes it really cool. I mean, I think it's the coolest of the majors in tennis, personally. No offense to the French Open, which has got the clay. I do like the uniqueness, with the French Open being clay and Australia and U.S. kind of being on courts. But I don't know. There's something about the grass and the pristineness of it. It's kind of like it's like tennis's version of the Masters, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know. So we will see. But I have no idea. I did see a cool video on tennis. I think it was Yannick Sinner who lit a match with a tennis ball serve. I don't know if Bill saw this, but they were able to put a match get a match position, and he was able to serve the tennis ball over the net, have it bounce, and then on the way up, it went right by the match and lit it, which is nuts to think about. Absolutely nuts. So I don't know if a guy can do that, he's got to be considered one of the better ones. I know, Carlos Alcaraz. He is currently playing right now, I think on center court. And he's from the Spaniard. He's sitting there at the 2 spots. So that's going on this week. But like I said, it's kind of a slow week, and it will be the slow week to an extent. Although tomorrow is a big day in college athletics. It will be a big day tomorrow in the college athletic world. It just will be. It's July 1, which means that is the day that officially colleges can pay student athletes. It's a historic day. The colleges can officially pay student athletes. So you're going to see money, that $22.5 million for some schools, some for not, is going to be start going into the bank accounts of the student athletes there at universities. Tomorrow is that big day. So big day. I'm not saying I'm a damn real proud of, but that's just the direction that we're headed right now in college athletics, which is sad, but it is the truth. Good for college athletes, though, making big time money. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think they're making way more than they deserve. There's only a few, I think, that deserve the amount of money that they're probably getting. But that's just the world that we live in right now in the world of college athletics.
High drive, deep left, grand slam!
And back lifts his ball high, deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
So do you ever have those situations in life where you're like, you know what, I think I can do this, even though you probably should have been like, I probably shouldn't. I might end up hurting myself. That happened to me this weekend. I was with my family out at the lake, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and water ski for the first time in almost probably 2 decades. I hadn't done it since I was pretty much in junior high. And I got real close. I got up probably 2 out of the 3 times I attempted, but on the 3rd time, unfortunately, as I got up, one of the skis broke, which is so weird, but it broke. And I ended up twisting my ankle and my knee a little bit. So if you see me walking around today with an ankle brace on, that is why. I don't know if I did anything wrong, but it's just when the ski broke, my foot kind of went one direction and it twisted my ankle. And so I kind of I've hobbled around most of the weekend. So if you see me hobbling around, that's probably the reason why. A dumb water skiing accident, because I thought I could do that. I think I can do that, even though I haven't done it in almost 2 decades. But oh well, live and you learn, I guess. I just hope I can get past this this ankle injury quicker. But I'm not gonna lie, it's sometimes I'm walking, I feel fine, and then all of a sudden like it bites me like, oh, ouch, that really hurts. So interesting weekend for yours truly. Yeah, interesting weekend for sure. All right, that will do it for our program today. Thanks again to Ryan Mosier. Thanks again to all those tuning in, whether it's on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 or the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. We're back again tomorrow for our final show of the week. No shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so we'll wrap up the week, I should say, pretty much on a Tuesday. But have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow here in the Blitz.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5, KKCI, Goodland, Burlington, Colby, and online at nwksradio.net.